The Hinterkaifeck Murders, one of Germany's most famous unsolved crimes, occurred on a remote farmstead located about 70 miles north of Munich. This tragic event took place in March of 1922, so this happened a while ago, and remains a mystery to this day. On the evening of March 31st, 1922, the 6 inhabitants of the Hinterkaifeck farm were brutally murdered. The victims included Andreas Gruber, his wife Cecilia, their widowed daughter Victoria Gabriel, Victoria's children, Cecilia and Joseph, and the family's new maid, Maria Baumgartner, who had just started working at the farm that very day. The bodies were discovered 4 days later, on April 4th, by concerned neighbors and the local repairman, Lorenz Schlittenbauer. After the family had not been seen for several days and missed church services, upon entering the property, the searchers found a horrifying scene in the barn. Andreas, his wife Victoria, and young Cecilia were discovered sacked on top of each other and covered with hay. Inside the house they found the bodies of Maria Baumgartner and little Joseph. Maria was in a room, and Joseph was found in his cot in Victoria's bedroom. The weapon used in the murders was believed to be a mattock, a type of pickaxe, which was later discovered on the property. The autopsies revealed that most victims had been lured to the barn one by one. Super creepy, where they were bludgeoned to death. The 2-year-old Joseph was killed by a heavy blow to the head, while the maid was also struck multiple times in her bed. Several strange clues baffled investigators. A few days before the murders, Andreas Gruber mentioned to neighbors and friends that he had noticed footprints in the snow leading from the forest to the farm, but none returning. Gilles reported hearing footsteps in the attic and finding an unfamiliar newspaper on the property. The keys to the house went missing shortly before the murders, and on the day before the maid arrived, the previous maid had quit, claiming the farm was haunted. Even more perplexing, it appeared the perpetrator stayed on the farm for several days after the murders. The livestock was fed. The neighbors noticed smoke coming from the chimney, indicating someone was still living in the house. The police conducted numerous interviews and investigated various suspects, but were unable to solve the case. They even exhumed the bodies years later for further forensic analysis, but it yielded no new leads. Several theories have emerged over the years, ranging from a crime of passion to a robbery gone wrong, but none have been conclusively proven. One of the primary suspects was Lorenz Schlittenbauer, the neighbor who discovered the bodies. He was familiar with the layout of the farm and had a complicated relationship with the Gruber family. He had been in a romantic relationship with Victoria and claimed to be the father of her son, Joseph, though Andreas Gruber was also rumored to be Joseph's father. Some speculate that the jealousy, or a desire to eliminate a financial burden, could have motivated the murders. Another theory involves Victoria's husband, Karl Gabriel, who was reportedly killed in World War I. Some speculated he had not died and returned to find his wife with another child, leading to the brutal killings. However, there was no substantial evidence to support this claim. The Gump brothers, known criminals in the area, were also suspected. One of them allegedly confessed to the murders on his deathbed, but his testimony was inconsistent and unreliable. Despite extensive investigations, the Hinterkaifeck murders remain unsolved. The case is especially chilling due to the rural isolation of the farm, the brutality of the murders, and the bizarre behavior of the perpetrator, who seemingly lived among the bodies for days. The combination of these factors have cemented the Hinterkaifeck murders as one of the most enduring mysteries in criminal history. Modern forensic techniques and DNA analysis might offer new insights, but without any surviving evidence, the truth behind the Hinterkaifeck murders may never be known. The Elisa Lam case. The case of Elisa Lam is one of the most perplexing and widely discussed mysteries of the 21st century. It centers around the disappearance and death of Elisa Lam, a 21-year-old Canadian student whose body was found in a water tank atop the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles in February of 2013. Elisa Lam, a student at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, traveled to Los Angeles as part of a solo trip along the West Coast. She checked into the Cecil Hotel on January 26, 2013. The hotel, notorious for its dark history in association with numerous deaths and violent incidents, provided an eerie backdrop for this mystery. I mean, it's weird that this hotel's so infamous for that. On January 31, 2013, Lam was reported missing after she failed to check out of the hotel and had not been heard from by her family. The case drew international attention with the Los Angeles Police Department released a disturbing surveillance video from one of the hotel's elevators. In the footage, Lam is seen acting erratically. She enters and exits the elevator repeatedly, hides in a corner, gestures wildly with her hands, and appears to be talking to someone unseen outside the elevator. The video, which quickly went viral, sparked a multitude of theories and speculations about her state of mind and the possible presence of a second party. After weeks of searching, hotel maintenance workers discovered Lam's body on February 19, 2013, inside of one of 4 large water tanks on the roof of the Cecil Hotel. Guests had actually complained about low water pressure and an unusual taste in the water, prompting the investigation that led to the grim discovery. Her body was found naked with her clothes floating nearby, coated with a sand-like particulate. The autopsy reported, released by the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office, concluded that Lam's death was an accidental drowning, with bipolar disorder listed as a significant condition. There is no evidence of physical trauma or SA, and toxicology tests showed no recreational drugs in her system, though traces of her prescription medications were found. Several puzzling aspects of the case have fueled ongoing speculation and debate. Firstly, how Lam gained access to the roof from the water tanks remains unclear. The doors to the roof were locked and alarmed, and the tanks themselves were very difficult to access without triggering an alarm or using a ladder. Secondly, Lam's strange behavior in the elevator video led to numerous theories, ranging from psychotic episodes induced by her bipolar disorder to paranormal influences or some sort of foul play. The Cecil Hotel's history only added to the overall intrigue, especially online. The hotel, opened in 1927, has been the site of numerous S-words, murders, and other mysterious deaths over decades. It is also infamously linked to the serial killer Richard Ramirez, otherwise known as the Night Stalker, and Jack Unterweger, who both stayed at the hotel during their killing sprees. This dark past, combined with Lam's bizarre death, spurred mass theories that she was influenced or even possessed by some sort of malevolent force within the hotel. Further conspiracy theories have proposed connections to tuberculosis outbreaks in the area, given that a tuberculosis test kit named Lam Elisa was being used nearby, leading to wild speculation about biological warfare and cover-ups. However, these theories lack credible evidence and are generally considered far-fetched. The release of the Netflix documentary series Crime Scene: The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel in 2021 reignited interest in the case, presenting new interviews and perspectives, but ultimately providing no definitive answers. The documentary highlighted the challenges of balancing mental health issues with the desire for independence and adventure, really highlighted by Elisa Lam's story. Despite extensive investigations and widespread public interest, the exact circumstances leading to Elisa Lam's death remains a mystery. The combination of her erratic behavior, the very eerie and scary surveillance footage, the grim discovery of her body, and the Cecil Hotel's notorious reputation has cemented this case as one of the most haunting in modern crime history. The disappearance of the Sodder children. The disappearance of the Sodder children is a very haunting and heartbreaking mystery that began on Christmas Eve in 1945 in Fayetteville, West Virginia. George and Jenny Sodder, Italian immigrants, lived with their 10 children. George, a critic of Mussolini, had tensions within the Italian-American community. And on that fateful night, a fire erupted in their home. Jenny, George, and 4 of the children escaped, but 5 remained trapped. Maurice, who was 14, Martha, who was 12, Louis, who was 9, Jenny, who was 8, and Betty, who was 5 years old. Despite George's efforts to save them, the fire had devastating consequences. When firefighters arrived, the house was reduced to ashes, and no remains of the children were found. Oddly, though, a ladder was missing, trucks failed to start, and phone lines were cut. Initial reports cited faulty wiring, but the Sodders doubted this, as the Christmas lights remained on during the fire. Suspicious events followed: a late-night phone call, sightings of the children post-fire, and a stranger seen observing them. A life insurance salesman had also threatened George over his anti-Mussolini stance, adding to their suspicions. Private investigators pursued leads, including a photographer Emmeline Lewis in the 1960s, suggesting that the children might still be alive or taken abroad. And theories emerged, such as abduction by someone who knew the family or an act related to George's political views. Despite leads and sightings across the country, conclusive evidence was elusive. George's death in 1969 and Jenny's in 1989 left their questions unanswered. The Sodder family's persistence led to a billboard near their home offering a reward for information to the case. It became a local landmark and symbolized their quest for the truth on what happened to the family. The case remains unsolved, raising questions about the initial investigation, foul play, and a family's relentless pursuit of justice to see what really happened to the family. The disappearance of Brandon Swanson. The disappearance of Brandon Swanson in 2008 remains a perplexing mystery that unfolded one night in rural Minnesota. Brandon, a 19-year-old college student, vanished after his car became stuck in a ditch on May 14, 2008. The events of that evening and subsequent search efforts have raised even more questions than answers, leaving his family and investigators puzzled to this day. Brandon was driving home from a party in Canby, Minnesota, when his car veered into a ditch around 2 a.m. He called his parents for assistance and told them he was near Porter, Minnesota, about 10 miles away from Canby. However, due to the darkness and unfamiliar surroundings, he was unable to provide more specific details about his location. His parents drove to pick him up, guided by Brandon's directions over the phone. They remained in constant contact with him, updating each other on their respective locations. However, after some time, the phone call abruptly ended, leaving his parents unable to reach him again. Concerned, Brandon's parents contacted authorities, who initiated a search that lasted for several days. Despite extensive efforts, including air and ground searches, no trace of Brandon or his car was found in the vicinity of Porter. The search area was expanded, but there were no clues to indicate where he might have gone after the call ended. One of the most baffling aspects of Brandon's disappearance is the lack of a clear explanation of what really happened after the call ended. Investigators retraced his likely route, interviewed witnesses, and even utilized advanced technology to search for his cell phone signal. However, no evidence emerged to shed light on his whereabouts. Several theories have emerged over the years, ranging from the possibility of some sort of foul play to accidents or injuries that prevented Brandon from seeking help. Some speculate that he may have become disoriented in the darkness and wandered away from his car, succumbing to exposure or other dangers in the rural terrain. Complicating the search effort was the rural and rugged nature of the area where Brandon disappeared. Dense vegetation, rugged terrain, and limited visibility at night posed all significant challenges to search and rescue teams. Despite these challenges, volunteers and law enforcement officers dedicated countless hours to combing through fields, wooded areas, and water bodies in the hope of finding any sign of where Brandon went. Brandon's disappearance deeply impacted his family and the community of Marshall, Minnesota, where he was well known and liked. Vigils and awareness campaigns were held to keep his case in the public eye and encouraged anyone with information to come forward. Over the years, periodic searches and efforts to raise awareness have continued, but no real leads or substantial developments have emerged. Brandon's case remains open, and his family continues to seek answers and closure. The death of Natalie Wood. The death of Natalie Wood, the iconic Hollywood actress, remains one of the most tragic and controversial mysteries in entertainment history. On the night of November 28, 1981, Wood, then 43 years old, was aboard her yacht, the Splendor, off the coast of Catalina Island, California. With her were husband, actor Robert Wagner, actor Christopher Walken, and the yacht's captain, Dennis Davern. The weekend excursion, meant to be a relaxing getaway, ended in Wood's untimely demise, sparking decades of speculation and intrigue. Natalie Wood was a beloved actress known for her roles in classics such as West Side Story, Rebel Without a Cause, and Splendor in the Grass. Her career, which began in childhood, had earned her critical acclaim and a dedicated fan base. Her marriage to Robert Wagner, a prominent actor himself, was considered one of Hollywood's golden couples, although their relationship had its share of tumult and rumors. On that fateful evening, the group had been dining and drinking at a restaurant on the island before returning to the yacht. Accounts vary, but it is generally agreed that tensions and arguments flared, especially between Wagner and Walken. Witnesses reported hearing raised voices in a heated exchange, especially focused on Wood's career and future projects, which reportedly caused tension between her and Wagner. Later that night, around midnight, Wood was discovered missing from the yacht. Wagner and Davern searched for her on a boat and then reported her missing to the authorities. Her body was found the following morning, floating face down in the water, about a mile away from the yacht. She was wearing a nightgown, socks, and a down jacket. The initial autopsy report concluded that she had died from accidental drowning, noting that she had consumed alcohol and there were superficial bruises on her body, possibly from trying to climb back onto the yacht. However, the circumstances of her death raised immediate questions. Why had she left the yacht in the middle of the night? Why were there bruises on her body? And what was the nature of the argument between Wagner and Walken? These questions led to widespread speculation and numerous theories about what might have happened. In 2011, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department reopened the case after Dennis Davern publicly stated that he had lied during the initial investigation. Davern claimed that Wagner and Wood had been arguing that night and that Wagner had delayed the search for Wood after she went missing. He suggested that Wagner might have been more involved in the events leading up to the Wood's death than previously thought. The re-examination of the case brought new attention to the inconsistencies and gaps in the original investigation. In 2012, the coroner's office amended Wood's death certificate to reflect drowning and other undetermined factors, highlighting that some of the bruises on her body could have been sustained before she entered the water. This change further fueled speculation about any sort of foul play or negligence. One theory possessed that Wood accidentally fell overboard while trying to secure a dinghy that had been banging against a yacht, a scenario suggested by Wagner and initially accepted by investigators. Others believed that she may have been pushed or that her fall was the result of a physical altercation. The presence of alcohol and prescription drugs in her system has also led to some that speculate her judgment was impaired, contributing to the accident. Wagner had consistently denied any sort of wrongdoing, maintaining that Wood's death was a tragic accident, nothing more, nothing less. However, in 2018, the Sheriff's Department named him a person of interest in the case, citing any sort of inconsistencies in his accounts and urging anyone with new information to come forward. Despite these developments, no charges have been filed, and the investigation remains open.